A close female friend appeared by Ethan's side during my 3rd month of pregnancy. They never crossed the line, keeping their ambiguous relationship within boundaries. One day, Ethan came home from work and handed me a bright red rose. Suddenly, a row of bullet comments floated above his head. The male lead bought 1 flower for the supporting female character, but 99 for the female lead. Has he finally realized his true feelings? In 4 months, the supporting female character and ex-wife should exit the stage. Insisting on saving the baby despite premature birth, she ended up sacrificing her own life. But her death conveniently paves the way for the main couple. Am I the only one who feels sorry for the supporting female character? The child she fought so hard to give birth to won't even visit her grave. She's just a plot device. Her sole purpose was to give the male lead money so he could enter high society. I looked at the lone rose in my hand, touched my belly, and made a difficult decision. A disloyal husband and a heartless child. I want neither of them anymore. Ethan hung up his clothes, looking somewhat distracted. His body had returned home, but his heart clearly remained elsewhere. He glanced at me, his right thumb lightly rubbing against his index finger, a telltale sign of his inner restlessness. I placed the rose in the hallway vase and spoke first. Is something the matter? Ethan nodded, then let out a long sigh. An important client has returned from abroad, and the hotel is quite far. I thought about coming back tomorrow, but... He looked at my still flat stomach, his face full of concern. I can't leave you home alone. I wouldn't feel at ease. I stared into his eyes. He met my gaze without panic, without evasion, so composed that I nearly overlooked the barrage of comments floating above his head. The male lead is going to find the female lead. Today is their confession day. This is the first time for the main couple, so sweet it's bubbling. The female lead's first child is also conceived tonight, right? Unlike the sickly child born to the supporting female character, the female lead's child will be the male lead's true heir. Though I ship the main couple too, isn't this technically the male lead cheating on his wife? And while she's pregnant no less, that's just too scummy. Upstairs, the female supporting character never knew until her death. She didn't suffer much, and even felt guilty for failing the male lead's deep affection. I silently read those bullet comments, feeling as if my heart were being torn apart by a pair of large hands. I've been able to see these bullet comments since last month. From the barrage of comments, I learned that the world we live in is actually a novel, and my husband Ethan is the male lead of the story. The bullet comments said that my husband of 10 years has developed an ambiguous relationship with someone else. They drink tea and chat together, attend concerts together, count stars together at night. And this woman is his destined female lead. Perhaps because I remained silent for too long, Ethan patted my arm in confusion. Sarah, what's wrong? I lower my head, hiding the moisture in my eyes. It's nothing. Work is important. You should go. Nothing is more important than you. Ethan pressed his lips together firmly, his voice resolute. If anything were to happen, I'd regret it for the rest of my life. We had been longing for this child for so long. When Ethan learned I was pregnant, he was so overjoyed he nearly cried. He thanked me for giving him a home, a safe harbor to moor in. From that day on, Ethan treated me even better, turning down social engagements to come home on time every day, never comfortable leaving me alone at home. I forced a smile. I'll call my sister right away and have her come keep me company later. Good. He replied too quickly, cutting off what else I was about to say. Ethan quickly realized he was being too overbearing and tried to make amends. I trust my sister completely with her here. You'll be just fine. I'll be off now, but I promise to be back by 9 tomorrow morning. If anything comes up, contact me right away. He went into the bedroom to look for a change of clothes. While he was searching, I took out his wallet and removed all the cards inside, leaving just one behind. He grabbed his bag and hurried out, not even sparing me a glance. As Ethan left, the barrage of comments vanished along with him. Yet in the barrage of comments, the so-called female lead's name still caught my eye, Clara. Funny enough, I knew her. She was the secretary of one of Ethan's business partners. Back then, I wasn't pregnant yet and accompanied Ethan to a banquet. There, the freshly graduated young woman trailed nervously behind her boss. In her fluster, she even spilled wine on Ethan's custom-tailored suit. The boss practically dragged her by the hair, forcing her to apologize to Ethan. What good is a top university graduate who can't even hold a glass steady? Ethan was visibly repulsed by the boss's attitude, and I helped smooth things over before the matter was finally dropped. The woman's eyes brimmed with tears as she bit her lower lip and thanked Ethan. Her shoulders trembled with sobs, her slightly reddened eyes making her look like a pitiful little rabbit. Not long after, I saw that woman at Ethan's company. She had become his secretary. Kneeling halfway, she placed a cup of hot tea on the coffee table before me. Then she looked up at Ethan, her eyes revealing a trace of grievance. I didn't quite understand why she felt wronged. That strange sensation flashed by in an instant. Ethan explained to me. Her name is Clara. As you saw last time, working under that kind of boss, she had almost no human rights. The poor girl just graduated not long ago, and it's pitiful she had to endure that kind of treatment, so I let her do odd jobs at the company. I spent 3 hours in Ethan's office. During those 3 hours, Clara came in 6 times, averaging once every half hour, either to change the water or bring snacks. The last time was to inform Ethan about a meeting. She stood timidly by the door. Ethan, the department meeting is about to start. Please proceed to the conference room. Ethan ignored her. Ethan's gaze remained fixed on me, not sparing her a single glance. The only thing he said to Clara was, "My wife doesn't like ginger tea. Change it to floral tea, and make sure the water isn't too hot." The tone was too rigid, too commanding. So when I saw Clara's name in the bullet comments, my first reaction was disbelief. After getting pregnant, I became particularly prone to sleepiness, but today I couldn't fall asleep no matter what. At 11:15, a hotel expense notification popped up on my phone. The card I left for Ethan was linked to my phone number. Shortly after, Ethan sent me a WeChat message. He said he'd been entertaining clients until now, had a bit to drink, and was sleepy, about to go to bed. He didn't call me directly to avoid waking me up. He also said many affectionate words, telling me to take care of myself and not miss him too much. I clutched my phone, shivering under the covers. In the past, I would have found this incredibly sweet, but now, thinking of him rolling in bed with another woman while still making time to send me such messages, my stomach churned. I couldn't hold back any longer. I rolled out of bed and vomited. Without replying to Ethan, I called his assistant, Xiaohan. Xiaohan was my junior from university. After graduation, he couldn't find a suitable job, and his family was in financial trouble, desperately in need of money. I took pity on him and arranged for him to join Ethan's company. Xiaohan nearly knelt in gratitude, calling me a savior and swearing he'd go through fire and water for me if I ever needed anything. After connecting the call, I asked Xiaohan, "Ethan said he's going on a business trip tomorrow. Is there anything we need to prepare?" There was a 2-second pause on the other end of the line, but the answer came quickly. "Yes. The boss is going on a business trip tomorrow. He can bring whatever he wants, or nothing at all. I've got everything prepared here." I twitched my lips, torn between laughter and tears. In the end, I praised him. "You're truly such a thoughtful assistant. When the boss returns from his trip, I'll make sure he gives you a raise." Hanging up the phone, I sat on the sofa, thinking about the barrage of comments I had seen. They had actually made it very clear. My husband, whom I had known for 10 years and been married to for 6, had changed his heart. And my future? I would suddenly go into premature labor at 7 months pregnant, and in the desperate attempt to save the baby, I would die on the operating table. The company my parents invested in for Ethan was originally meant to be my safety net, but after my death, it all became Ethan's alone. In the end, he and his affair partner would live happily ever after, while my child would resent me for bringing them into the world so frail. My entire life had only ever been a foil for the main characters.
Why?
Why must they treat me like this? At 6:30 in the morning, I made my decision and drove to that hotel. Just as I was about to take out my ID to ask the front desk to check the room number for me, the barrage of comments appeared again. Oh my God, the male lead is so strong. After 2 hours last night wasn't enough, he's carrying the female lead into the bathroom this morning for more steamy action. This is what VIP members should be watching. TSK, the female lead is so lucky. Good thing the rooms next to 502 are empty. Otherwise, even with the hotel's soundproofing, it'd be unbearable, right? I closed my eyes briefly. It seemed that as long as I wasn't too far from Ethan, I could see these bullet comments. I took back my ID and took the elevator directly to the door of room. Standing at the door, I touched my belly again. If this child truly resents me for bringing him into this world, as the bullet comment said, then I'll grant his wish. The bullet comments seemed to see me, and they voiced their confusion. Holy shit, who do I see? Why is the supporting female character here? Why has the plot changed? Shouldn't she be resting at home for her pregnancy at this point? Oh no, if the male lead gets caught now, it'll be a full-blown affair during marriage. The female lead will be tainted.
No.
Supporting female, go back. The cheating scumbags were never clean to begin with. How dare they act all righteous now? I agree. Cheating shouldn't be whitewashed. Why do these trashy people get to be the main leads? The bullet comments split into two factions, scrolling and arguing with each other. Ethan is someone with an extremely strong sense of time. If he promised to return home before 9 a.m., he definitely wouldn't break his word. Sure enough, the door opened before I had to wait even 10 minutes. Ethan adjusted his tie while turning back to coax gently. Go back to sleep for a while. I've taken 2 days off for you. What? Still worried about your salary? You can swipe my supplementary card as much as you want. A pair of slender jade-like arms reached out and wrapped around Ethan's waist. Clara whined coquettishly. You were so rough last night. You hurt me. If you're like that again next time I'll... What would she do? Clara didn't finish her sentence. Because Ethan turned his head and saw me. His pupils contracted, his body stiffened momentarily, then he quickly pushed Clara away and strode toward me. I turned sideways to look behind him. Clara had been shoved to the ground in disarray, her white nightgown revealing most of her delicate bosom. She stared at Ethan in disbelief. This man who had professed endless love to her just last night was now treating her with such panic and haste. The barrage of comments paused for a moment before quickly scrolling again. How can a male lead treat the female lead like this? She's your destined one. Just wait till you're chasing her through crematorium flames later. And that supporting female character is so annoying. Why does she have to show up now? The female lead looks so wronged and heartbroken. Don't cry, darling. We can be strong. Independent female leads without any male protagonist. This is truly a chasing wife to the crematorium scenario. Look, the male lead's wife is clearly about to leave. Who knows who he'll end up chasing? The other woman is just that, the other woman. How dare she steal someone else's husband and then act like the victim? Sighed female lead, don't back down. Go slap them both. I stopped paying attention to the barrage of comments. Ethan grabbed my wrist. Sarah, let me explain. His voice trembled, too guilty to meet my eyes. Suppressing the bitterness in my heart, I slowly uttered a few words. Fine, explain. I couldn't say more, afraid I might break down in tears. I thought I was prepared to calmly and indifferently accept this sudden betrayal, but when the moment truly came, I realized I still couldn't let it go. I hate myself for not seeing the man before me clearly. I hate that my 10 years of affection were trampled by him like this. I'm actually not what you think. Ethan expected me to cry, to make a scene, but he never imagined I'd actually wait for his explanation. Yet the words of that explanation stuck in his throat, impossible to voice. Of course they wouldn't come out. The truth was right there in front of us. What excuse could he possibly make? That he and Clara had spent the whole night playing cards in the room? Still trying to claim the hickey on his neck was self-inflicted? Ethan's Adam's apple bobbed, his hand clenching slightly. Let's go home first. We'll talk at home. He blocked my view, preventing me from looking at Clara, and tried to pull me toward the elevator. I violently shook him off, suddenly furious. Don't touch me, you filthy thing. Ethan's hand froze midair, not daring to move, though his body trembled faintly. I turned to leave but was shoved hard, stumbling. It was Clara. How dare you treat him like this? You eat his food, drink his resources, and still have the nerve to give him attitude? You take all the benefits, yet remain ungrateful. Her face was filled with anger, as if she were the one who had been humiliated. Did I eat Ethan's food? Drink Ethan's water? I let out a cold laugh and looked up at Ethan. Did you tell her that? I truly hadn't expected that Ethan would credit all he had now to his own efforts. So this is how he speaks of me outside. Ethan's face turned from pale to red, a flash of shame crossing his eyes. Without waiting for his explanation, I swiftly turned and slapped Clara. Ethan, who had been reaching for my hand, immediately rushed to support Clara instead. Sarah, it's my fault. Hit me if you must, but don't drag the innocent into this. Innocent? I burst into laughter, pointing at Clara as I asked him, she shamelessly slept with a married man and she's innocent? But you're right about one thing. You definitely deserved that beating. As soon as I finished speaking, I raised my hand and brought my palm down hard against Ethan's face. Clara screamed, How dare you hit him? Who do you think you are? You deserve to die. She threw her full weight against me. I took 2 steps back to the right rear, where the staircase was. Clara crashed into me, the tremendous force sending me reeling backward until I tumbled straight down the stairs. As excruciating pain shot through me, I felt someone scoop me up. Ethan's terrified, anguished cries rang in my ears. Sarah, Sarah. No. Don't scare me like this. When I woke again, the air was thick with the smell of disinfectant. The steady beeping of monitors filled the room. Ethan sat by my bed, his face buried in his hands. I couldn't tell how long he'd been holding that position. I didn't call out to him, just watched the barrage of comments floating above his head. The subtitle said Ethan had rushed me to the hospital in a frenzy. Clara knew she'd messed up. She was terrified. Once she'd collected herself, she'd immediately hailed a cab and followed us to the hospital. Her explanation was that she'd acted impulsively out of heartache for Ethan, unable to bear seeing him hurt. She cried, threw tantrums, and wheedled, but not a flicker of emotion crossed Ethan's face. Before she could beg for his forgiveness any further, the police arrived. The hotel called the police. Through the hotel surveillance, Clara was identified as the suspect of intentional assault. She cried and hid behind Ethan, begging him to explain to the police. You can't arrest me. It was just an accident. I did nothing wrong. Sarah threw the first punch. But Ethan seemed like a soulless shell, just staring blankly at the operating room door. Logically, Ethan should have gone to give a statement, but considering I, the patient, only had him as family present, the police just asked him a few questions before taking Clara away. The female lead is so pitiful. Why won't the male lead explain for her? Is this turning into an angsty novel? Didn't the male lead stop loving the supporting female character? But the way he looks at her clearly shows he still cares. What's up with the romance plot? The female lead absolutely deserves to be arrested. This is intentional harm. Not to mention, the supporting female character's child is gone. The main couple's later relationship development was supposed to revolve around the antics of the child born to the supporting character. What are they going to do now? I gently touched my abdomen as a tear slid down my cheek. This child is truly gone now. Truthfully, regardless of whether he was as described in the bullet comments, I had no reason to keep him. How could I love his child wholeheartedly when I loathed his father? My movement caught Ethan's attention. He suddenly looked up, his bloodshot eyes filled with the joy of having regained what was lost. Upon meeting my icy gaze, his hope gradually dissipated. Ethan stopped going to the office, only leaving for half an hour when absolutely necessary. Otherwise, he stayed by my side at all times. Sarah, I truly only pitied her at first. That day she said it was her birthday, that she had no family in this city, and just wanted me to keep her company. I never imagined things would. Sarah, it's all my fault. Don't hurt yourself with anger, the baby. We can have another baby. He kept talking to me incessantly, as if this could somehow lessen his own suffering. But aside from eating, drinking, and relieving myself, I spent the rest of my time staring at the ceiling, counting the sounds of the machines. He broke down, clutching his hair and sobbing. Sarah, don't be like this. Hit me if you want, yell at me if you want. Punish me however you wish, just don't shut me out like this. He was too noisy, disturbing my rest, and was kicked out by the doctor. Yet he refused to leave, lingering in the hallway outside the door. After calming down, he forced a smile and came back in to apologize to me. My silence lasted until my sister came to see me. After our parents died in a car accident, she became my only blood relative. The moment I saw her, I could no longer hold back and burst into tears, clinging to her. Without mercy, my sister punched Ethan in the face. As Ethan went to see the doctor for treatment, my sister asked me, "You've loved him for so long. Are you really decided on letting go?" I choked back a sob and nodded firmly, leaving no room for doubt. This man isn't worth it. This marriage must end. Ethan burst in, panic-stricken. I swear it was only that one time. Just that one mistake. Please give me another chance. Don't leave me. Let's not get divorced, okay? I'm begging you, Sarah. I remained unmoved. You spent 2 hours together that night, telling her you loved her over and over. And then, in the morning, you were still in the bathroom together. Remembering the barrage of comments, I pointed at his neck, his arm, and his abdomen. She kissed you here, here, and here. How do you expect me to suppress my disgust and touch you again? The sight of you makes me sick. Ethan's face darkened. He took 2 shaky steps forward. How? How did you know? Then his head drooped dejectedly as he muttered, I didn't love her. I was just bewitched in that moment, playing along. Yes, I was just playing along. I said I loved her, but it wasn't true. My sister couldn't hold back any longer, grabbing the fruit basket from the table and hurling it at Ethan. Just playing along? Then when you said you loved Sarah, was that just an act too? Ethan shook his head desperately. I truly love Sarah. That hasn't changed all these years. Sarah, for the sake of all the time we've shared, give me one more chance. He knows too. All those years we shared. But how could I possibly give him another chance? I spent half a month in the hospital. Every day, Ethan brought me different breakfasts without fail, rain or shine, and no one could stop him. Until the day before I was discharged from the hospital, when Ethan took a phone call, said he had an important meeting, and asked my sister to take care of me. I'll be back soon, and tonight I'll bring your favorite chopped chili fish head, he said. But that evening, he didn't return, and naturally, there was no chopped chili fish head either. The next day, when I was going through the discharge procedures, he finally showed up, late as usual. He started apologizing again, then fumbled around helping me pack my things. After putting the slippers into the suitcase, he stole a glance at me and said guiltily, I fired Assistant Han. I won't keep anyone around who isn't honest with you. I knew his guilt didn't stem from firing Xiao Han, but rather. The barrage comments erupted into another round of arguments. The male lead still loves the female lead. He went to bail her out at the police station and even issued a letter of forgiveness. The male lead comforted the female lead all night. Though nothing happened, he gave her 10 million plus 2 villas as compensation. What a scumbag. Apologizing to his wife and refusing divorce while still entangled with his mistress. How can such a man be the male lead? By what right does he issue forgiveness on behalf of the supporting female character? He wasn't the one who got hurt. I stared at the barrage of comments on the screen and laughed out loud, then dialed the police station right in front of Ethan. I haven't forgiven Clara. The letter of forgiveness my husband signed wasn't authorized by me and holds no legal weight. Ethan's face turned deathly pale, his trembling hands reaching to snatch my phone but withdrawing the moment they touched me. You had someone follow me? You don't trust me? Trust? Ethan, I'm not dead yet. What right do you have to forgive on my behalf? I laughed mockingly. Was he even worthy of my trust? Sign the divorce papers now, and we might still have room for negotiation. Otherwise, I'll sue to reclaim everything you gave Clara under the name of marital joint property. The way Ethan looked at me changed. Guilt was gradually replaced by anger, mixed with an indescribable sense of helplessness. Sarah, stop this. You're really making me feel like I don't know you anymore. Who's the stranger here? I solemnly declare once more. Ethan, let's get divorced. Ethan still refuses. I never imagined divorce could be this difficult. When I learned he went to sign Clara's letter of forgiveness, I knew this woman still held a place in his heart. Yet he remained indecisive. Are you afraid of the money my parents invested? Don't worry, the investment will still stand. Ethan has remarkable business acumen. He multiplied my parents' initial investment tenfold. Yet, the majority of company shares remain under my name. Ethan's voice grows quieter. If I transfer all assets to your name through notarization, would you reconsider the divorce? This time it's my turn to disagree. After being discharged from the hospital, I moved directly to my sister's place. Ethan couldn't stop me, nor was he willing to help. He just stood there dumbly staring up at my sister's building, watching as the things that once belonged to me gradually disappeared from his world. After a busy day, I finally noticed the messages on my phone. Xiaohan had called me dozens of times, with over 99 unread WeChat messages. I tapped on a few voice messages. He was apologizing to me in tearful sobs. Senior, I really have no choice. I'm being paid by the boss. He warned me that if I leaked anything, he'd fire me. I never imagined Ethan could actually sleep with Secretary Clara. I thought they were just flirting, that they wouldn't betray their families. Senior, please. Don't let Ethan fire me. My father's illness still needs money for treatment. So, he'd known all along about Ethan and Clara's affair. I'd known about Ethan's change of heart for a while. He'd only kept it from me because he was afraid of being fired. In the end, the man who once knelt to thank me, who swore he'd go through fire and water for me, had still betrayed me. Perhaps because Ethan had betrayed me first, Xiaohan's actions didn't actually make me feel angry. I transferred 10,000 yuan to Xiaohan and then blocked him. He would go to Ethan for compensation. He had worked at the company for 5 years, and plus one severance would be enough to sustain him until he found another job. It's just that there would no longer be a kind-hearted senior like me to help him. His next job certainly wouldn't be as comfortable as being an assistant. Ethan didn't give up. He minimized his time at the company and then coincidentally ran into me everywhere. I said some very harsh words. I never thought those heart-piercing words could come from my well-bred mouth. Ethan looked devastated, in pain, yet I inexplicably felt a hint of satisfaction. Seeing him suffer actually made me happy. To make myself even happier, I hired a lawyer and prepared to file for divorce for the first time. The lawyer said that as long as Ethan refuses to agree to the divorce, there's a 90% chance the first ruling won't grant it. The odds are slim, but I want Ethan to know my determination to end this marriage. Ethan seemed to lose his mind after receiving the summons. He smashed everything in his office, then came to ambush me outside my sister's building. My sister called the police several times, but it was no use. Ethan kept coming every day. Sarah, how can you be so heartless? 10 years of love. Can you really just walk away? Have you forgotten how hard we struggled together, how much we've endured? Have you forgotten how devastated you were when your parents passed away? It was me who comforted you and helped you out of that darkness. He was my husband. Wasn't it his duty to comfort me and help me through my pain? Clearly, he was the one who betrayed our relationship first, yet he accused me of being heartless? I didn't understand his logic, and I said as much. He replied, "A prodigal who returns is more precious than gold. You should give me a chance to turn over a new leaf. I know you're resentful, and I'm willing to accept your punishment. Anything but divorce." I was stunned. "So, signing that letter of forgiveness on my behalf was your way of turning over a new leaf? Giving our shared assets to Clara was your redemption?" Ethan crouched down, clutching his head. She became so emaciated during her detention that she called me, begging me to save her. She's still young, and after all, I slept with her. I couldn't bear to see her suffer like that. Couldn't bear her suffering, but could bear mine? I gnashed my teeth in anger. "Do you know why I lost my child? You're shielding a murderer. You're an accomplice. How could I bear this pain alone when they're the ones who caused it?" My voice grew sorrowful. "That child. I think it must have been a boy. His eyes and brows were exactly like yours, and when he smiled, he had the same shallow dimple. If he had been born, he would have touched your beard with his soft little hands, then called you Daddy in that milky voice of his. He would have been the continuation of your bloodline, adoring you with all his heart. He would have boasted to other children that his daddy was the best in the world." Ethan stood up, let out a mournful cry, then staggered away as if fleeing. I wiped my face and forced a smile. "Hurts, doesn't it? Good. It should hurt." Yet in court, he insisted on not divorcing. He claimed our relationship wasn't broken, that he'd only made a small mistake, and promised to always put me first from now on. Ethan recounted our 10-year love story, reminiscing about those beautiful moments. He pulled out a thick notebook, all the little details he'd collected about our relationship from the very beginning. Our first meeting, our first date, our first trip. I revisited every single one of those places. Walking through them all, I realized how terribly wrong I was. As emotions overwhelmed him, 2 tears rolled down the corners of his eyes. Memories cut deepest. I listened carefully to those bygone days. We truly had been happy and in love once. He held me close, whispering sweet words of affection in my ear. He had hardly ever refused any of my requests, striving to present the best things before me. For a full 10 years. Even the barrage comments seemed stunned by him. The male lead actually loves the supporting female character this much. With this development, even if the supporting character loses her child, she probably won't die. So, what about the female lead? What is the male lead thinking? Does he really not love the female lead? This sweet romance novel is falling apart. In the original story, the affair between the male and female leads went unnoticed by the supporting character, so they stayed together, with their relationship developing steadily. Now, the male lead hasn't fully fallen for the female lead yet, and the supporting character has discovered the truth early, so naturally, things won't proceed as in the original. Ethan began explaining his infidelity. During my wife's pregnancy, my body betrayed me. I disregarded her feelings and indulged myself. I swear I'll never make the same mistake again in this lifetime. The more he spoke, the more sorrowful he became, and the look he gave me grew increasingly ashamed and guilty. I've always loved my wife, and that has never changed. His refusal to divorce was never about always loving me. As he claimed, it was merely the result of weighing pros and cons. For some reason, I suddenly felt like laughing. All those beautiful memories from the past seemed like bubbles, vanishing the moment they were lightly touched. Naturally, the first appeal didn't succeed in ending the marriage. But additionally, the court supported my claim to recover the marital property from Clara. Outside the courthouse, Ethan stopped me. "Let's talk." Apart from the divorce, I had no interest in discussing anything else with him. But he wouldn't let me leave. "Sarah, give it up. No matter how many times you appeal, I'll convince the judge with my sincerity. The law always favors the party against divorce. As long as I drag this out, we'll always be together." I've returned everything I gave to Clara, and I promise never to contact her again, he said, rubbing his hands together meekly. That child. I never imagined what he would look like after being born. But ever since you said he called me Dad, that he looked at me with admiration in his eyes, I've dreamed of him every night. His eyebrows really resemble mine, but his eyes are like yours. He cried and said he hated me for harming him, blamed me for not avenging him. He said he was in so much pain that he never even got the chance to see this world. Sarah, let's not separate. Let's try to have him again, okay? I scoffed and shook my head. I originally wanted to leave some dignity for both of us, but it seems you don't want that. Fine. After 6 months of separation, I can file the second appeal. As for the child, he'll never get the chance to be born in this lifetime. The long quiet barrage of comments suddenly erupted again. Oh my God, the supporting female character won't even keep her own child, and the male lead begged her so desperately. The letter of understanding is void, and the female lead is detained again. The supporting female is truly vicious. Why isn't this kind of woman dead yet? The female lead is so pitiful. Eating such bland food every day, she's lost another circle of weight, crying daily. Male lead should hurry up and think of something, or just divorce the supporting female character already. The moral compass of the person above is seriously flawed. The female lead knowingly became the other woman, yet you're blaming the supporting female character? If it were your child who was pushed down the stairs and lost, could you still feel sorry for the person who pushed them? Amid the arguing, suddenly one comment turned bold, and even I could sense its excitement. The female lead is out. She's been bailed out. Oh, turns out she's pregnant. The female lead is having a baby. Her and the male lead's first child. The future Forbes-listed little male lead has appeared. At the same time, Ethan's phone also vibrated. I couldn't hear what was said on the other end, but his eyes gradually lit up. I saw the excitement in his eyes, and an indescribable surge of hatred rose in my mind. Ethan was in a hurry to leave. He pressed his hands on my shoulders and made me a promise. Wait for me. I'll resolve everything as soon as possible. This time, I'll definitely make you forgive me. Watching his hurriedly departing figure, I suddenly laughed. I almost let his sincerity move me, just almost. How could I believe he was truly repentant? What he said in court was nothing but deceitful tricks. From the moment he betrayed our marriage, every word he spoke was a lie. Didn't he dream of having a child? Clara made his wish come true. Except for the fact that I didn't die and my child wasn't born, Ethan's life, just as the bullet comments had said, was back on track. The 10 years I spent by his side made him successful, but left me with a broken marriage and scars all over my body. How is that fair? I contacted a well-regarded investment firm and sold off my shares. Then, I immediately filed for asset preservation with the court. Account frozen. Now Ethan couldn't access large sums of money even if he wanted to. I figured it out. If losing a bit of money meant cutting ties with Ethan for good, it might not be such a bad deal. The investment firms are very optimistic about the company's prospects and have shown strong interest in purchasing shares. So I didn't suffer any losses. In fact, I made a small profit. Once the asset freeze took effect, Ethan started frantically reaching out to me. He roared over the phone. Sarah, I told you I'd make it right. Why won't you believe me? She was just a woman to warm my bed. It was never a big deal. Why did you have to make such a public scene? Take a good look around. Which man in the business world is cleaner than me? And which of their wives isn't turning a blind eye? Why can they get away with it, but not you? After venting his anger, he switched to apologies. Sarah, I lost my temper just now. That was wrong. But I've apologized so sincerely, promised I'd never sleep with another woman again. Why are you still holding this over me? This constant tug-of-war has truly worn me out. I signed up for an overseas tour group, planning to heal my psychological wounds during our separation. Seeing how stubbornly he refused to back down, I knew I had a tough battle ahead in 6 months. Just 2 days before my planned overseas trip, Ethan tracked me down. He was a man who prized cleanliness, yet now he was unshaven with coffee stains on his collar. The thought that he might be taking care of the pregnant Clara made me sneer. True love indeed, if it could make him change his habits. Ethan was ecstatic. I've really figured it out. I'm sure we can make up. I didn't understand what Ethan meant. How could he think there was any chance of reconciliation? I was about to walk past him when he pulled Clara out of the car. My eyes widened. Clara didn't look well at all. She had grown terribly thin. And Ethan's earlier action could only be described as rough. This was hardly how one treated someone they loved. I frowned but remained silent, wanting to see what they would do next. Ethan held on to Clara, who was trying to break free, and said to me urgently, "The only reason you insist on divorcing me is because Clara caused you to miscarry, isn't it? Abort her child. Consider it repayment for our own child's life. As long as her baby dies, you'll come back to me, won't you?" I thought Ethan had gone mad. Clara probably thought so too, as she froze for a few seconds before struggling desperately. "Ethan, you can't do this to me. You were the one who said you loved me, that I was younger and prettier than your wife, that you wanted to divorce her and marry me. That's why I slept with you. The child in my womb is the fruit of our love. How could you bear to hurt him?" Clara's face was streaked with tears, her pitiful expression and pale face, making it hard not to feel sympathy for her. Ethan lowered his head, his gaze devoid of any warmth as he looked at Clara. A ruthless glint flashed in his eyes. "I only love my wife, Sarah. I never loved you at all. Clara, let's speak frankly. If I didn't have money, a company, or status, would you even look at me? Only Sarah came to me when I had nothing. We've been together for 10 years. Because you seduced me, made me lose my child, and turned Sarah against me. How dare you not deserve death? And besides, you're so wild in bed. Who knows whose bastard you're carrying?" I stared blankly at the man before me, as if seeing him for the first time. His gentle, refined facade had completely vanished, baring teeth as pale and menacing as a predator's. The barrage comments exploded completely. "Oh my God! How did the male lead turn out like this? He actually wants to abort the female lead's baby just to win back the supporting female character? The male lead has gone mad. The female lead has suffered so much. How can he not see any of it? And now he's helping the supporting female character hurt her? I told you this was a tragedy. Once the baby is gone, the male lead will probably regret it, then chase after the female lead again, only to make the supporting female character pay with her life for their child. Forget about the legal documents for now. All I care about is whether the female lead's first child can be born. Though I do hate Clara, the real culprit who hurt me is Ethan. Every debt has its debtor. As for Clara, I don't need to deal with her myself. Even if her pregnancy allows for a suspended sentence or parole, the compensation won't be waived. Her parents and younger brother, who farmed in the countryside, probably wouldn't be willing to help her bear the burden. I just needed to focus on dealing with Ethan. I slowly took 2 steps back and shook my head firmly. "Ethan, don't waste your energy. No matter what you do, I won't give up on the divorce. I'd also advise you not to court death." After saying that, I turned and walked away, picking up my pace, afraid Ethan might stop me again. I really didn't want to discuss the future with a madman right now. Behind me, Ethan's heart-wrenching cries followed. "Sarah, I was wrong. Don't hate me. Don't leave me, please." I arrived at Marseille by cruise ship. When I turned on my phone, I was bombarded with messages. After first sending a quick "I'm safe" to my sister, I saw her latest message. Ethan was arrested, then released. I immediately contacted a lawyer and only then learned the full story. It turned out Ethan had actually gone to an illegal clinic and given Clara an abortion shot. He said, "Sarah lost her child, so why should you get to keep yours? I should have pushed you down the stairs too, but out of consideration for the times we slept together, I'll give you a clean break." Clara endured 10 hours of pain, lost the baby, and was left permanently infertile due to a bacterial infection. Clara reported it to the police. My sister sent a lawyer to meet with Ethan. After 10 years with Sarah, you should know her temperament. She'd rather shatter like jade than compromise. Even if you die before her eyes now, she'll never look back. So stop doing meaningless things. Part on good terms, and maybe Sarah will still remember the good in you. Ethan cried bitterly, while continuously berating himself for losing such a wonderful wife because he couldn't control his baser instincts. After calming down for a few days, Ethan had someone contact Clara, promising to marry her, and only then did he obtain the letter of forgiveness from her. Ethan received a 2-year suspended sentence with 3 years probation and has now returned to the company to take stock of his assets. The lawyer said, MS. Sarah, your husband has agreed to the divorce. You can come back now. I want to visit Clara in prison first. I just wanted to see what fate awaits those who interfere in others' marriages. She looked like she'd aged 10 years, with wrinkles covering her entire face. The shabby prison uniform seemed too large, hanging loosely on her frail frame. The miscarriage recovery period had passed, but without my forgiveness and lacking money to compensate me, Clara was sentenced to 3 years. When she saw it was me, she became extremely agitated. If not for the thick glass barrier, I suspect she would have lunged at me. Sarah, you must be so pleased with yourself. My child is gone, and I can never get pregnant again, but guess what? Ethan promised to marry me. You filed for divorce and blocked me everywhere, all to make Ethan stop contacting me, didn't you? Well, look how that backfired. Now Ethan wants to divorce you. She burst into laughter, cackling for a long while before realizing I showed no trace of sorrow or distress, not even the slightest change in expression. Do you really not love Ethan anymore? I nodded. Trash. I don't want it. If you like picking up garbage, take it. On a bright sunny morning, Ethan and I went to the civil affairs office. He sold his shares, gave me all the money, and chose to leave with nothing. He said he was sorry, and this was all the compensation he could give me. I asked him how he would make a living in the future, and he smiled bitterly. Delivery or security, anything will do as long as it puts food on the table. As long as you're doing well, I'll be at peace. He seemed to have regained his former tenderness and consideration, but I no longer needed it. Without hesitation, I took all the money. It was what I deserved. Ethan's voice grew quieter. I promised to marry her. After a pause, seeing no reaction from me, he smiled bitterly. Trash like me and her deserve to be locked up together forever. Sarah, while I was imprisoned, I had a dream. I dreamed that you went into premature labor at 7 months pregnant, and you gave your life to save the baby. I was terrified, holding your lifeless body in a frenzy. When I woke up, I was so relieved it was just a dream, that you're still alive, living well. I looked up with a smile. The barrage of comments above his head had dwindled. The male lead gave all his assets to the supporting female character. Does that mean he can't make a comeback? How is he supposed to secure the female lead's future like this? So this is how it ends. Dropping this story. Dropping it. What trash writing. Such a terrible ending. Though after these, dropping this, comments floated across the screen. The barrage of comments completely vanished. As if all the pent-up frustration and pressure had dissipated, I waved at Ethan. Let's stop here. Under Ethan's desperate gaze, I turned away with effortless grace. The end.